Life Unrehearsed, brought to you by Lianas Senior Transition Support, helping you navigate home care and senior residences.
Welcome back to Life Unrehearsed. I'm Matt Delvecchio, specializing in life transitions, home care, and the senior living industry.
And I'm Corrie Matt, a clinical social worker and author of Someone Died, Now What? We are very excited that we are celebrating our 5th year anniversary. So I hope you're tuning in and you're hearing some of our most memorable moments with some of our most memorable guests.
Yeah, Corey, as I was explaining, it was too tough for us to select which would actually come on air. So we are going to hear a few more of those clips, probably closer to around 3:45, 3:50 later on in the show. And we thank you for listening in and celebrating our 5 years together. Corey, I've been very excited about our next guest as well.
So it is great pleasure because not only are we celebrating some of the wonderful guests we've had, we also wanted to include some very special people in keeping with our theme. So meet Claudia and Andrew. Professionally, they're both accountants that live on the West Island. They're also proud parents of twins, William and Michael, and are on the line today to share their inspirational story about how and why they created the foundation with love from Michael. Welcome to the show, Claudia and Andrew.
Thank you for having us, and congratulations on 5 years.
Thank you. Okay, so I gave a very cursory introduction. Can you please tell us what happened, your story about your journey and how this all got started?
Yes, well, of course, we were over the moon excited to find out we were having twin boys, like you mentioned, named William and Michael. We did all the genetic tests and ultrasounds. Everything was perfect. But at 22 weeks, we found out they were affected by SIUGR. It's a rare condition that specifically attacks the placenta of identical twins. The plan was to follow them very, very closely and deliver them as soon as they got to a weight at which they can survive. We were determined to do everything possible to bring them both home. Like, we had the nursery ready, we had micro-preemie clothing already ready. My husband had even chosen their schools. This was happening, and but unfortunately, everything, all the hopes were lost in the 3rd trimester when Michael passed away. The weeks that followed were very hard. We were still fearing for William's life. We were anticipating Michael's stillbirth. We were planning a funeral for a very much wanted and loved baby. The grief was completely consuming. My family had come over and just hidden some of the baby stuff so it would not be in sight. My mom tried to keep it together while she returned Michael's crib. We had to keep on going for frequent ultrasounds, and seeing 2 babies on the screen with only one heartbeat, it breaks your heart into a million pieces. But we focused on preparing for their arrival and maximizing the memories we can make while we're still physically the 4 of us at the hospital. We made matching teddy bears, matching blankets, picked up our favorite childhood books so that we can read to them. We even found a stillborn photographer that would come and take family photos. But then things took another wrong turn, and I went into premature labor. And William was born unresponsive, taken away immediately to be put on oxygen. 18 minutes later, Michael was born silent. So we were feeling very helpless, that our sons couldn't be together in the little time that we had at the hospital, that they were separated so abruptly. It left us completely crushed. And COVID curfew was in effect, so our stillborn photographer couldn't come. Everything just kept on going wrong. Yeah. So basically that night we were, in a hospital room, William in the NICU, Michael still in our arms. You hear the healthy cries of babies and excited parents in the next room. You're completely helpless, and you feel a great despair when you watch the life end of someone that to you is more important than your own. It changes you, and we're going to be coming up on 1 year soon. And William is beautiful. He's perfect. He's thriving, and Michael is terribly missed, and we honor him all the time. And but the trauma of those nights, they still haunt us.
You're listening to Life Unrehearsed with Matt and Corrie, and that's the voice of Claudia, and she is with Andrew as well, talking about their heartwarming story where Michael was born stillbirth, and yet there were twins, and William was there as well. I can't imagine the emotions that you were going through, and as you expressed the helplessness, and you also have William as well, and as a couple, what you were going through. But you took one major leap forward in how you dealt with all this, and it's something called the With Love from Michael Foundation. It's really fascinating. Tell us how it got started, and what have you done to date?
Oh, thank you. Yes. Well, basically, it started with just before giving birth, I had created a social media account to connect with other parents who suffered similar losses. It's really amazing how complete strangers can understand your pain better than the people closest to you. We documented everything that we had done for the boys and the ways we were creating memories and, the details of his funeral and the memorial boxes that we had prepared for people to remember and buy. And so often people would say the same heartbreaking comment, "I wish I knew to do that for my baby while I had the chance." And that's when we realized just how how much support was needed. So we registered as a nonprofit last year and became an official Canadian charity this January. We started off by making memorial packages and sibling boxes that we'd send to families to help them through the tougher times. But we wanted to provide immediate support.
Mm-hmm. And that looked like what? Did we lose them?
Basically, it's actually a memory-making box, and which is it contains all kinds of items to create memories and connection. So for people wondering why it's so time sensitive, it's because while you're at the hospital, you do have some time while you're still at the hospital with your baby, you can bathe your baby, you can get them dressed, you can cuddle your baby, and all of the contents of this box contain items to help you do that, like hand and footprint kits, matching teddy bears, one that you can leave with your baby, one that you can take home as a memory, photo props so that you can take family pictures. Very often you might have in your go bag a welcome to the world photo prop, and that's not very appropriate anymore. So we create other ones that can then be taken home as a keepsake or an ornament. And it's all about making a connection so that parents have these mementos to help them through the harder days of grief. And that's why we created it. We've now delivered our 100th box to our 5th hospital, and so far the feedback is very positive.
Unbelievable! How clearly Claudia and Andrea taking a tragedy and making something really special and honoring Michael's memory in this way is just so important, and I suspect therapeutic as well. So what other things have been helpful to you?
So I guess I'll answer that one, Corey. Definitely, okay. As Claudia mentioned, one of the most important ways to help yourself is to find ways to remember your child, and remember that you are still a parent to them. So really taking that time, you only have a few days in the moment, so really taking the time to make memories with them is super important. And like for ourselves, we watched movies with them. So we watched The Lion King and Finding Dory. So it's kids movies that you really wouldn't do normally, but you don't have time as they grow up. So it was finding ways to make that moment special still. Afterwards, we still find ways to make them special. So we light candles, we bring them flowers to the gravesite, and we bring a matching one for our own home. We use the teddy bear that Claudia made to represent Michael in our family photos. And it's really finding that way to make a memory and build it. And that's what we try to do with the boxes that we've made for the memory boxes, is give those parents, too, a way to connect to their child in the long run so that they remember. Because we found it very helpful. And connecting with your child is definitely one way, but also telling their stories is important. So finding those groups that you can speak with, because your friends and family, they can't understand. You hope they don't understand, because you don't want them going through something like this. But people who have experienced it, they understand, they listen to your story. Everybody's stories are different, but they all have that certain level of connection that you make with other people. And that definitely helps in the long run.
Absolutely does. And I love the fact that you're talking about telling the stories, the essence of what Life Unrehearsed is all about, and what we want to get these stories out there. 5 years of celebrating Life Unrehearsed, and life is difficult sometimes. We're talking with Claudia and Andrew. I mentioned to Corrie, I said, I'm going to say Andrea, I bet. And sure enough, I did. Yeah. But Claudia and Andrew, no disrespect, Andrew. Glad we heard from you. But you guys are fantastic. You've turned around a very tragic situation of having twins, one of them stillborn, and William now, I guess, 1 year old, very healthy. We always like to ask this. What advice would you give to parents who experience this type of tragedy, and I guess tragedy in general? What words of hope can you give them?
I mean, in that moment where something like this happens, you really can't think. You're in such shock that you really can't process anything. So we made a letter that we include in all of the kits, and it's available also on our website, so anybody can look at it. But the most important message out of it is not letting anybody else tell you how to grieve. It's making sure that you make those memories with your child, and you express the way that you want your child to be remembered. So, like, at Christmas time, we tried to get everybody to make sure that they had, like, a gift also for Michael, so that he's not forgotten in that. And it was simple things like just a snowman making kit, so that at his gravesite, we had something to look at with them, and William could experience that too. Mm-hmm. And it really helped in general, just so that we felt that he was remembered and we were still parents to them. So remember that it is your child, and you can be a parent to them as much as you want, and you really have to advocate them for them, because nobody else is going to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I have to say amen to all of that. I cannot thank you both enough for sharing your story with us and really infusing hope in a very difficult situation. So the foundation, again, thanks for coming on. The foundation is called With Love from Michael, and check it out. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.